Well, hello again, everyone. It's Tuesday night, so we're back again with our NFL Week 8 preview show. Below me, you got Joey Clinkscales and Vincent Turner. Fellas, we're already 7 weeks into the thing. We're almost halfway through the season. You guys surprised at how quickly it goes by, but it kind of always goes by quickly, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But it's going real smooth. We got a lot of teams competing in the NFC. I believe we got several teams, 4-2 on the year? I think it's real good. And most of all, I don't mean to take over everything, but I've been a Cowboys fan 59 out of my 65 years. How about them Cowboys?
You're
Back
gonna be you're
to
gonna be so disappointed at the end of the process, just like always.
Listen, you got to get one eventually, right? I mean, it's only been 30 years. You got to get one eventually.
Let's
All
get
right.
this
Well,
party started, baby. Let's
if
get this
you're
party
all
started.
If you're all ready for it, we got 4 games on the docket. There's some ugly football this week. I'll tell you what. A lot of teams with ones and twos in their win columns playing against a lot of teams with ones and twos in their loss columns this week. So the couple games we do have, the Thursday nighter, we got the Chargers who are sitting at 4-3, kind of reeling a little bit right now, but they're going to Minnesota, who's also 3-3, who they got their own issues. Joey, let's start with the Chargers, and we'll start with you. Coming into this game, is this a must-win game? Is this a game you think the Chargers will win? I mean, what's your thought in Los Angeles? Because it's a lot different from what it was 2-3 weeks ago.
The Chargers are in a pretty precarious position from the standpoint of, they have guys injured. They're trying to get back healthy. I know Khalil Mack came back and he played last week, but their offensive line is still a little bit in shambles. They're trying to get healthy. They're playing a little bit of running back by committee. They have injuries there, but they took a pretty good beating by the Colts this past weekend. It wasn't close really for most of the game. So the Chargers are in a position where they're trying to get back healthy. They have to go on the road and go to Minnesota, and Kansas City is becoming Kansas City again. So everybody in that division are like, oh heck, here they come again. Here come that team wearing that all red. So the Chargers need to find a way to get healthy quick, because they don't want to get behind Kansas City. Because I think if they get behind Kansas City and Kansas City stays healthy, then what we were talking about early in the season about the Chargers or the Broncos running away with the division, it could turn the other way and Kansas City could take off again.
Yeah, well, that month where everybody said the dynasty was dead and we enjoyed it, that was kind of nice, right? To where, hey man, maybe the AFC West is wide open again. But Vincent, I have the same question for you. The Chargers. I don't think it's a must-win game, but if they go back to 500 the way the Chiefs are looking, especially the way they looked last week, I mean, Jesus, beating up on the Raiders the way they did. It's a team that they're kind of going in the wrong direction.
You hit it dead on the button. They lost 3 out of their last 4, man. Justin Herbert has played decent football, but the injuries have caught up to him. But the most telling statistic that happened to me last week with the Chargers was this right here. Their defense gave up 24 first downs, gave up what?
Yeah.
58 plays and 6.9 yards a play. If you look overall this season, San Diego's a team that usually plays good defense. They didn't do that last week against the Colts. I'm going to say it one more time. Their defense allowed 24 first downs. That's a recipe to losing football games. Back to you, Brian.
Yeah, well, to say this, I mean, Khalil Mack was back in this game. He actually was back and healthy, and it really didn't look like it. The Colts, now, to be fair to the Chargers, the Colts are looking like they might be the best team in the AFC, despite everything Kansas City's doing right now. But going in the opposite direction, the Vikings are kind of treading water, right, Joey? I mean, the Packers are rolling. They're 4-1-1. The Bears are looking like a formidable team. The Lions, I mean, they dominated Tampa Bay about as much as they could last night. But what's Minnesota got to do? And then what's up with the quarterback situation? Is it Carson Wentz? I mean, do you think maybe they're holding McCarthy out a little bit longer because they don't trust him yet, or they're trying to stay in the division?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I think Carson Wentz is a little bit injured himself. Excuse me. He's got a shoulder that he's dealing with. So he's not 100%. McCarthy is still trying to work his way back. I think Minnesota's bye is after this game. So really, if they're going to bring McCarthy back, it'll probably be after the bye week. So they'll let Wentz play this game. I think McCarthy was the 3rd quarterback last week. So he may be the number 2 quarterback this week, depending on how well they practice. But, Minnesota is tough right now. defensively they have done okay. Offensively, they've made some plays. It's not like Wentz has played terrible, because he hasn't. They just have, anytime you have to throw the ball a lot, that's not a recipe for winning football most of the time. I know we'll get to a game probably later where a quarterback threw it almost 50 times and they ended up winning the game. But that's usually not a recipe for success. So defensively, Minnesota can do some things. They have some players, although they didn't play particularly great last week. So this would be an interesting game.
Yeah, well, offense moved the ball a little bit last week, excuse me. They kind of stumbled. Not very good in the red zone, especially touchdown-wise. A lot of field goals, and the difference ended up being 6 points. So, if you can – that T.J. Hawkinson drop late. I mean, they had a lot of plays where they were very, very close. They just weren't quite there. Wentz had the 2 interceptions. He did get fooled twice, but it's going to be interesting to see what they do, especially if they lose this game. And then once they're fully healthy, I know they're activating Aaron Jones this week as well. Vincent, your thoughts on the 3-3 Minnesota Vikings at home this week? The Thursday night game. It's a short week to get ready for it against the Chargers team who, both these teams are kind of in a must-win situation, right, Vincent?
No question about it. With the Vikings, I'm going to say this. Last week, I thought they played well enough to win that football game. They controlled the time of possession, 34 minutes to 25 minutes. The only thing defensively, I'm going to start there, they gave us so many explosive plays. Devontae Smith worked out on their old teammate, Isaiah Roberts. Did he not? Gave up 2 big-time plays, one to him and then one to A.J. Brown. But most of all, think about this in that football game. The Vikings were inside Philadelphia's 20-yard line 5 times, and they only came away with field goals. Yeah. So if they clean that up, I think really going into Thursday night, they're going to be a pretty good football team. And like Joey said, the health of Carson Wentz is probably another question we need to answer. But really, the Vikings played real well to win last week against the Eagles, because they ran, 67 plays? And the Eagles only ran 49 plays. But there was 2 things that stuck out in my mind. Brian Flores, we talk about how great a defensive coordinator he is. But, boy, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, they did some eating on Sunday.
Yeah.
They did some eating against their former teammate. I'm sorry. Give it back to you, Brian.
Yeah, well, we've been pretty critical of Jalen Hurts so far this season, but he was only 19 of 23 for 326 yards, 3 touchdowns. Vikings did a decent job against the run. They kind of held Saquon Barkley in check, but they didn't really hold anyone else in check throughout the whole thing. Joey, if you got to pick a winner for one of these 2 teams, both of them are reeling. Someone's got to get right. Who is it?
Well, in my opinion, it's a short week. The Vikings are home.
Yeah.
The Chargers are traveling cross country, so I'm going to take the Vikings.
Vincent, that short and sweet. Vincent, I'm gonna give you the same question. Who you got here?
Bud Grant is coming from heaven, baby. I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings every day of the week. Remember, like I said last week, they was inside Philadelphia's 20-yard line 5 times.
Yeah.
And they kicked 3 field goals. Just think about if they would have scored touchdowns. We'd be talking about a different football team tonight, but I'm taking the Vikings.
Well, they'd be 4-2 right now. That's our Thursday game at 8:15. The next game we have up on the docket, the Bills against the Carolina Panthers, who a month ago were 0-3, a team that I didn't think we'd be previewing at all. Vincent, I'll start with you. Buffalo's coming off a tough loss at Atlanta. They were pretty banged up in that game. They had the bye week. That's a chance to get healthy. They're still sitting at 4-2. This division kind of looked pretty easy, but the Patriots are playing pretty good football. If you're the Buffalo Bills, what are we thinking? What's up with them coming into this game? Is this a must-win game for them as well? I know they're it's tough to say that about a 4-2 team, but Patriots are rolling.
Hey, the Bills have gotten exposed the last 3 weeks. Last week they was on a bye week. The Falcons found some clinks in the armor, and the Patriots showed you what the Bills are lacking at. Now, to me personally, Josh Allen needs another weapon on the outside. Dalton Kincaid cannot be your leading receiver. Now, the man that runs his mouth a lot and talks a lot, a media darling, Mr. Keon Coleman, has just not been the guy we thought he is. Let's be honest. Yeah. So right now, what I'm hearing is out of the Buffalo camp, they're looking at their young man in Nashville, the 30-year guy that played with the University of Alabama, Kevin Ridley. And I think that'll be a real good fix. If you give Josh Allen, I want to say a piece like that, then I think Buffalo is going to be able to roll offensively. Now with the Carolina Panthers, can you believe Carolina? We shocked. Everybody talking about Bryce Young, but let me tell you something. It's about that defense. I always said he don't get a lot of publicity because they lose a lot, but Derek Brown out of War Eagle, the University of Auburn, is a
Yes, sir.
football player. And last week, I don't want to hear about the Jets are having problems and Justin Fields. They held him to 220 yards and about the Jets offense and 6 sacks. And I'm going to tell you who also playing some great ball for Carolina. Carolina making me a real believer. We don't get a lot of respect. He don't get a lot of respect, but he played little league football up there where you from, Brian. J.C. Horn, Joe Horn's little baby boy. He probably one of the top 3 corners in the game. It's gonna be an interesting football game for me because now I'm thinking Carolina's gonna be very competitive in this football game, and Buffalo, believe it or not, this to me this is a huge football game for them. Back to you, Brian.
Well, Joey, the Bills are coming off a bye, so they do get a couple extra days to get ready for it. Get a little bit healthy. I think that's what everybody's trying to do at this point in the season right now. But the Bills are at 4-2. Vincent made a great point. This team seems to be kind of lacking the downfield explosiveness, right? The trade deadline's coming up. There are some decent wide receiver names on some not so decent football teams that could be on the move. Joey, give me your outlook on the Buffalo Bills.
Well, I think the Bills, they've lost 2 in a row, so that's the first issue. But I don't think, as inconsistent as they've played on offense, defense has been their problem. They've had issues in the secondary, they've had issues at linebacker. So I think if Buffalo is going to make any big trade or any big player, I don't think it's going to be a big time receiver. I think it's going to be somebody in the secondary because you have to be able to stop people. I mean, we're going to get to Vince's team here shortly, and they can't stop Cole. I mean, I'm not sold on them yet. So the Bills got to be able to stop somebody so they can go out and get a functional receiver, and maybe it's the kid from Tennessee from Alabama who's a good player. It's not a great player. It's a good player who can help Coleman. But they have to get their other guys involved, and they actually have 3 tight ends. They've only dealt with 1, but they have 3 tight ends. They can scheme you and spread you out and get those tight ends and create advantages, which they have not done a multitude of times yet. So I'm not super concerned with Buffalo on offense. I'm a lot more concerned with them on defense, and the fact that Josh Allen has uncharacteristically started to turn the ball over again like he did early in his career. The Panthers, on the other hand, the Panthers have really been one of the biggest surprises in the league. And the quarterback has played well, not super, but he's played well, but they've really been able to run the ball. And as Vincent said, defensively, they have played really good. Horn is a top 5 corner in this league, I think. They have linebackers that's playing good. Defensively, they've been able to stop guys and stop teams on short yardage. And they're a young team, and they're believing in each other again. So guess what? When you have and I'm not saying that Bryce Young is the leader, that the traditional leader, but guess what? They believe in Bryce. Now Bryce is out this week. So Andy Dalton is going to be the starter this week. So I'll be interested to see how they play with Andy Dalton being the starter again. But I think it's a big game for Buffalo because they've lost 2. They started 4-0, now they're 4-2. So if your next question is who's going to win this game, despite the game being in Charlotte, I think I'm gonna pick Buffalo because I think Buffalo really needs to find a way to get back on the winning track.
Well, you guys are cut out the middleman. I didn't even have to ask you about the Panthers. You guys just both went right into it, right? I was going to say, hey, man, Carolina, listen, they're playing good defense and they're running the football. And it really doesn't matter who you have under the helmet quarterback, which I know Bryce Young is already ruled out this week. The ankle injury, we'll find out the severity probably going forward. But if you can run the football, you can play good defense, you really got a chance to beat anybody in this league. And Joey, the Panthers are kind of this doesn't look like a team that started 0-3, right? They got talent. They got some young wide receivers. The defensive front is looking ferocious. Rico Dowdle kind of came out of nowhere, right? I mean, they gave Chuba Hubbard that big extension. They said he's the guy, and then he gets banged up, and Rico Dowdle says not so fast. Hey, I can play running back pretty well also. So, I mean, I think the only controversy right now behind the Panthers is the fact that who's going to be your starting running back going forward. But this is a team that listen, I think it's a little too early to say they could make some noise, maybe make a playoff run. But Tampa Bay losing last night, Joey, is this Is this a franchise that, or should Panthers fans go from their mock drafts 3 weeks ago to maybe, thinking a postseason berth?
Well, I think it's still a little early for that because injuries, just like the injuries are affecting Tampa Bay, they're going to affect everybody. So it's how you perform when you're injured. And Detroit and the Niners have shown you that injury is no excuse for losing games. So because they have had more injuries than anybody, and Tampa Bay for that matter too. All those teams have had major injuries and they've continued to play good football. So I'll be curious to see how Carolina does with the quarterback out, and so for them, I'm not sure I would make playoff tickets yet, but at least they're moving in the right direction, and they can run the ball. That's the one thing they can really do on offense. They can run the ball.
From 0-3 to 4-3, Vincent, is there a hotter team in football, and who do you think comes out on top of this game?
I'm going to shock the word. I'm taking the Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
I like them because they're young. They're playing good football. Bryce Young is seemingly, like Joey said, he's not playing great football, but he's playing solid football. Xavier Leggett, the receiver last year, who I thought by now would be putting up some numbers. Last week he had an outstanding game. Let me see, 7 receptions, 92 yards. But most of all, I love what they're doing defensively. It's like Petey Pablo, baby. North Carolina, the raise up. The Panthers finna raise up, and I think they're going to be ready to play. It's going to be rocking in Charlotte, and I'm going with the Panthers in the upset.
All right. Well, Joey, you had Buffalo in this one, so this is.
Oh yeah, Bryce Young not playing. Yeah, I got the. I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure. This won't.
It's rare that you guys go against each other. I'm just saying. Usually, you guys are in sync with the picks. It's rare that you guys are on the opposite end of the spectrum here. But, hey, I get it. Panthers are rolling, and the Bills are a good football team off of a bye. So hey, I wouldn't be surprised, crazily enough, if either team came out on top on Sunday. You guys have any final thoughts on this one?
Hey, two good football teams. One team that's been there, done that before. They need this game. And another team that's young and starting to play real well with a great defense. That's my opinion.
There you go. All right. Well, that game is Sunday at 1:00. That's your standard kickoff. This one at 4:25 is kind of interesting. It's the unstoppable force versus the movable or the immovable object, if you will. The Cowboys' offense. Dak Prescott is rolling right now. It's one of those things where it's a rarity to see him throw an incompletion right now. CeeDee Lamb is back and healthy. He had a phenomenal game last Sunday. The Broncos had one of the comebacks for the ages as well. The Giants fans may want to hear that, but it was a fantastic football game coming down to the wire. Cowboys are at 3-3-1. The Broncos sitting at 5-2. Joey, your thoughts on the Dallas Cowboys going into Mile High and having to take on the Denver Broncos?
5280, baby. 5280. That altitude, 5280. But I'll say this: Cowboys offensively are a Super Bowl caliber team offensively. I mean, Dak Prescott is playing at probably as good as he's ever played. Now, he was finished second for MVP a couple years ago, and I would venture to say he's playing even better now. He's got CeeDee Lamb, he got George Pickens, he's got the tight end there that he's throwing the ball to.
Yep.
He looks good. As you said earlier, it's almost a surprise when there's an incompletion.
Yep.
That's how good offensively the Cowboys are playing right now. Now, defensively is a whole nother story. Now, they beat up on the lowly the team with no football character the other day, but we're going to see what they do with these Broncos because the Broncos can play defense. The Broncos can play offense. So we're going to see what happens. You know what? I think this will be a 7-point game. Honestly, and I know you hadn't asked that yet, but I think it's just going to be hard to go into Dallas. I mean, go into Denver in that altitude. Denver coming off a big win. Denver playing defense like they can play. 2 games ago, they had 9 sacks. Denver can really rush the passer. So I would be shocked if Denver lost this game for the standpoint of it. Not that Dallas won't be in the game. It's just when Denver gets on offense, I just don't know if Dallas's defense can play. Plus, who knows if Diggs will uh, get a concussion at home because
Hey, it happens to the best of us, right? It happens to everybody.
hey,
You slip and
because a
fall, and
lollipop hit him upside the head or something. I mean, who knows?
yeah. Well, Vincent, I know you're giddy. You want to talk about the Cowboys. Now, I'll lead you with this. I'll give you some more good news. I'll lead into the offense, right? Dak Prescott hasn't thrown an interception almost a month and a half. They've looked pretty good. This is a team the only team that's really kind of played offensively with the Green Bay Packers so far are the Dallas Cowboys. Vincent, are you nervous? Are you excited? Is this a game that you look at and you think you get wide-eyed because you got a chance to win it and kind of put the Cowboys back in the national conversation, maybe Super Bowl contenders?
No, see, that's a trick question, because, see, you like your daddy now. You
No,
like,
no,
listen, because you want me to say that, hey, the Cowboys, Super Bowl champions, all that. No, I'm not going to get that far. I'm not going to get that far, but I love that, Mr. LeBel. I love it. But I would say this, to be honest, Cowboy Nation, I'm surprised that the Cowboys are 3-1. After we traded our best player before the season started, I had picked the Cowboys at 6-10, or 6-11, excuse me. But I'm really surprised Dak Prescott, in my opinion, is playing the best he's ever been under center for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm really surprised at the MVP numbers. I'm really surprised at George Pickens. He really has been our best player. 607 yards on the year, 6 touchdowns, and Javonte Williams is giving us a running game. Remember, he was coming off 2 knee injuries with the Denver
Yep.
Broncos, and we signed him for little or nothing. He's giving us 592 yards. And the defense, granted, they 29th in the league, but they have shown some grits and improved a little bit since Javanian Clowney has been able to be inserted in the lineup. And Deron Bland does what he do best. Last week, what did he have? A pick six. But right now, the Cowboys are scoring points. And to me, they can play with anybody in the league offensively. Here, I'm not going to sit up here and brag and get obnoxious like a lot of Cowboys fans. No, Dallas can't stop nobody. But right now, I'm very surprised that they're playing at a high level offensively under Brian Schottenheimer. I didn't even know what he was about a coach, but obviously the Cowboys and Dak Prescott wanted him to be a head coach, and I'm learning something. Maybe Joey can help us out with this. It's very critical for your team, the head coach and the quarterback, to really like each other and be on a good page.
Oh,
And that's what I'm seeing in Dallas.
absolutely. I work with Brian Schottenheimer in New York, and he's first of all he's a good dude. He's a good man,
Okay.
and he's got football pedigree because we know who his dad is. He was a great coach, so
Pretty well-known guy. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
So guess what? He was waiting on his opportunity, and this opportunity came at the right time for him. I'm always leery of Cowboys and especially Cowboy fans, but I'll say this: if Dallas wins this game in Denver, I'll probably sing a different tune because Denver is a good football team, and if
Yeah.
Dallas can actually
hmm
go in there and beat a good football team who can actually play who can play offense, which means Dallas will have done enough on defense, because defensively the Cowboys aren't one player away. So when you said that you thought they would be 6-11 even with Micah there, I could understand that a little bit because they aren't just one defensive player away. They need help at a lot of positions on defense. So if they can go in here and get a win, knowing what they need on defense, then that'll tell me that yes, the defense has gotten better. The offense has been legit this year. I mean, they're real. The offense is real. So
Yeah.
this is a big game for the Cowboys. This is a really big game for Cowboys.
And I'm gonna say this. Realistically, it's a huge game. I just like the Cowboys to be competitive, because I understand if you don't play good defense in this league, you're not gonna go nowhere. Defenses win games. Let's talk just what happened recently. The Eagles dominated the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and their D line came alive, and we saw how that game ended up. So I'm a very understanding guy of that. But when you look at the Cowboys right now, there's no question about it. I'm proud of their 3-1 record. It brings back the days of Emmett, Staubach, Dorsett, Lilly, the great Mel Renfro out of Oregon. I don't want to start bragging, because then People gonna go south, and I don't want everybody at 100 yards football. See, they're gonna Cowboy fans again, and look at the looks on Joey and Brian face. They don't want me to start there, so I'm gonna
No,
stop there.
I want you
But
to start. I want you to start. Hey, I just want you to be this way week 17. I want you to start now.
Yeah, we got to keep it the same, right?
Okay, hey, I want
be
you
the
to
same
keep
when
that
they're
energy.
3-3-1, and
Keep that energy.
just got to keep it going, right?
but that's right. But let me say one thing. Much kudos to the Broncos. As you just mentioned, Joy and Brian, they got a real good football team. And I'm gonna tell you, a player that's really surprised me is Bo Nix.
Yeah,
Bo Nix has played really well. When he was time I think about Bo Nix, I think his freshman year at Auburn, I think his sophomore year at Auburn, I think his junior year at Auburn, when they ran him out of Auburn,
yes, sir.
Alabama, and then he goes up to Oregon and has that great success for 2 years, and then he gets to the National Football League. Denver's got a good defense, but it's no question about it. Bo Nix is playing like a 10-year veteran. He's playing very excellent football, man. Back to you, Brian.
Well, I talked about it. I said, Dak Prescott's not turning the football over. Bo Nix isn't either, right? And he's giving his team a chance every single week because, with how good the Broncos defense is, hey, I don't want to give you any free yards. I'm not going to turn the ball over deep in our own territory. If we can even if we got a punt, if we can flip field position, I trust the guys on the defensive side. Joey, Sean Payton isn't a guy who's really getting a lot of consideration. If you talk coach of the year, right? We're talking more so. You look at what Shane Steichen's doing in Indianapolis. You look at what Mike Vrabel's doing up in New England. But I mean, the Broncos are 5-2. This is a team that a couple years ago were dead in the water. Is it maybe time to kind of look at the coaching and say maybe Sean Payton deserves a little bit of credit for this turnaround and what they've been able to do?
Without question, because he knew that Russell Wilson was long in the tooth and wasn't the kind of quarterback that he wanted. So he knew he wanted to draft a guy. And Bo Nix, for some of the flaws that he has, this year he's really taking care of the ball, and he is a legitimate threat with his feet. So now you have to allot somebody in coverage to spy on Nix when Denver has the ball, because guess what? He'll take off and run and he can run. I mean, he's a 4'5", 4'6" kid, so he can run and he'll get a lot of yards. So Denver is a hard team to prepare for from that standpoint. They have two pretty good receivers. They can run the football. They have a good offensive line. I wouldn't call them great, but they're good. The Giants let them off the hook last week. We talked about this last night where on two of the final series of the game, that two of their best defensive linemen were standing on the sideline, which was asinine to say the least. But Denver is a good football team. Denver still won the game. They came back 30. They scored 33 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they did.
So that tells you about the character of their football team. They didn't feel like they were out of the game when the fourth quarter started, and they had zero. They scored 0 points. So that tells you the character of that football team. They scored 33 points in the fourth quarter to come back and win a football game. So, hey, Denver's at home. They're riding high. It's going to be a good football game.
Vincent, 2024 NFL Draft. Caleb Williams goes first overall. Jaden Daniels second to the Commanders. New England Patriots take Drake May at number 3. The Atlanta Falcons take Michael Penix at 8. The Minnesota Vikings take J.J. McCarthy at 10. Bo Nix goes 12, and he's the 5th quarterback on a lot of people's draft boards. And Sean Payton in his interview says, we just got the steal of the draft. We got the best quarterback. And a lot of people said he was crazy for that comment, right? A lot of people say, you don't know what you're talking about. Turn on the tape. Well, the tape through the first year and a half, it looks like he might have been correct. Am I wrong?
You're totally correct. War Eagle, baby. Because Bo Nix, out of all the players that surprised me at that position, he surprised me the most. He got the Broncos to the playoffs last year, man. And he coming back this year, he's more consistent. And when you think about it, I'm glad that you brought up, Brian. We should consider Sean Payton for some votes for the coach of the year.
Yeah.
What he's done with that young man this year and his second year, I'm not trying to start anything, and I'm not trying to get views. I'm not trying to get clicks. But Bo Nix is playing a little bit like Drew Brees, man. Very accurate with that football. Back to you, Brian.
Well, I'll go ahead, Vincent. I'll go with you first. I know who you want to pick to win this game. I know what your heart says, but What does your mind tell you about this football game?
It's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm looking at it a 35-31 victory for the Broncos, simply
Okay.
because Denver has a better defense and the Cowboys are ranked 29th. But it's going to be a lot of scoring, and I think Dak Prescott is going to keep up with his trajectories, what he's done so far this year. He's played real well. CD Lamb is back in the lineup, so I think Dallas is going to score points. But I think Denver got a wake-up call last week. I think they were a better football team being down 26-8 in the fourth quarter with the Giants, and we saw they can explode at any time. And I just like the fact when you got two quarterbacks playing at a high level, it just does so much energy for your football team. And Bo Nix, even since last year and up to now, he's playing at a championship level in a division that allegedly has the best team in that conference in the Kansas City Chiefs. Back to you, Brian.
Yeah, all the Chiefs do is keep winning Super Bowls, but maybe it changes this year. Maybe we'll see. Joey, this is a game that originally a couple weeks ago I looked at and said the Broncos maybe easily, but I don't know, man. The Cowboys are kind of figuring it out, and like I said, you got a very high-powered offense against a very high-powered defense. What does your football gut tell you about this one?
Well, my football gut tells me the Broncos are going to win this game, and it may not be quite as high scoring as we think. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Denver has last year's Defensive Player of the Year at corner. Okay,
Yeah.
So he's going to lock down one corner. He's going to lock down one receiver. They're going to double team the other receiver.
Yes.
Okay, so now the rush will get to Dak Prescott. So I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout, but I'm going to say Denver is going to win this game by at least 7 points. I don't think it's going to be super close at altitude in Denver. I just think defensively, Denver has pieces to negate what Dallas can do from an offensive perspective.
Okay. Joey, that's the Belichick strategy, right? We're going to put our best corner on your number 2, and then we're going to double your number 1. You got the mic'd up clips where he's going up to Chad Johnson. He's like, "Hey, buddy, nice to see you. We're going to double team you all night. You're not going to get much going on." Hey. Is that what Sean Payton's going to do? Is he going to go up to CD Lamb before the game and say, "Hey, man, get nice and loose, get ready to go, but it's going to be a lot of cardio for you this evening"?
Great football coaches about scheme and matchup. And guess what? The guys that can really do that the best win championships. And guess what? Last time I checked, Sean Payton had a Super Bowl in his pocket. So it's not his first rodeo. It's not his first rodeo, even on the Bronco. It's not his first rodeo. But guess what? I just think it's defensively, the Broncos will be a little much for the Cowboys to handle, despite what they're doing.
This might be the best defense Sean Payton's ever coached, which is kind of saying something, right? They're very, very good.
Yep.
That's gonna be a phenomenal game. That one's Sunday, 4:25. I think I'm not sure if that's the game of the week, but for a lot of people, that's your Sunday afternoon game that you're probably gonna have a lot of eyes on. This one, for a couple of different reasons, we're gonna have our eyes on this one. I know, Joey, you're gonna have this one on your television screen just for the Steelers aspect of it, but you got Aaron Rodgers going up against his former team, his former coach. The Steelers they're 4-2, a game they wish they could have had back last Thursday night. They're going to have a lot of extra time to get ready for this one. Joey, I'll start with you, and we'll start with the Green Bay Packers. They're sitting at 4-1-1. They tied with the Dallas Cowboys, who we were just talking about a couple weeks back. The offense I don't think has looked as crisp as I think it could be, or has since that Cowboys game, but they're still winning football games. Micah Parsons still wrecking havoc when he needs to. Your thoughts on the Green Bay Packers coming into this week against the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Well, the Packers offense have kind of played to the level of competition. They have not played great for the most part of this year. And for whatever reason, I can't explain it. I was expecting Jordan Love to be more consistent than he's played so far this year. And so that has to improve. They have pieces on offense, especially at the receiver. They got running back. Who's really good, 3 or 4 receivers that are excellent. So offensively, they really and their offensive line has kind of played up and down at time, which has affected the way that Jordan has played. But defensively, they're a really good football team. And again, Micah had his best game as a pro. He had 3 sacks against the Cardinals the other day, and he looked really good, and he's explosive. So the Packers would be a handful. Even in Pittsburgh, the Packers would be a handful. And obviously, everybody's going to say this is the Aaron Rodgers game. Last week it was the icy hot game. This week it's the straight Aaron Rodgers game for the fact that he played so many years with the Packers. So it'll really be interesting how the Packers approach this game. But my guess is they're going to play. They're going to do all they can to get after Rodgers because they know he's not the most mobile guy in the world. Now the Steelers will run a lot of play action, which will help, but he's not the most mobile guy in the world. The Steelers' offensive line has played peak and valley football. They're really up one week and really down the next week. So from that standpoint, it'll be interesting. But you have to get the Packers the upper hand right now.
Vincent, this is a big game for both teams, not just because of the Aaron Rodgers going back against his former team. He was there seemingly forever, but the division's kind of tightening up a little bit for the Steelers. It was wide open. They had a 3.5 game lead just 8 days ago, whatever it was, and then Cincinnati comes out and they play a really good football game on Thursday night. They kind of steal one from them. Packers are kind of in the same boat. The NFC North's looking very, very competitive yet again. This is becoming a trend. Vincent, thoughts on the Green Bay Packers, and is this a game they feel like they have to win? Not just because you got to keep pace in the division, but I mean you don't want to lose to Aaron Rodgers, right?
Well, you got to look at it like this. When the Packers acquired Michael Parsons, what did everybody was saying? Super Bowl.
I was ready. Yeah.
Yeah. No questions. Hands down Super Bowl team. Have they played like a Super Bowl team? To me, no. They've been kind of inconsistent up and down. Last week, they struggled against Arizona from an offensive standpoint. But what I came impressed away with, they got that defense going. 6 sacks last week. 10 quarterback hits. Michael Parsons said, okay, y'all been doubting me. I should not get the money. I'm the best player. He had a revelation of being the best in the game since that young man out of North Carolina by the name of LT. I think y'all know who I'm talking about, Mr. Lawrence Taylor. And what did he do last week? 3 sacks, 4 tackles for a loss, 5 quarterback hits. So that set the tone for what the Packers are going to do this week. And what I love about this game is that Jordan Love, as Joey said, hasn't played real well, but I guarantee you they're looking at that film. Mr. Romeo Dobbs, the wide receiver, and Josh Jacobs. And you know what they're doing? They're looking at Thursday night what their 40-year-old did for the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Flacco, 342 yards. And Jamar Chase worked out on Joey Porter Jr. No disrespect. I think he had, 16 receptions, 161 yards. Darius Slay showed he getting old. Jalen Ramsey showing he getting old. If I'm the Packers, I like my chances in this game. And like Joey said, look at that look. The Packers are going to get after Mr. Chico Californian Aaron Rodgers and Broderick Jones out of University of Georgia. I know some of his people personally from Lithonia. Man, you better chin them up because if you get one-on-one with Michael Parsons, you know Michael Parsons like the bright light. He like Broadway, man. He gonna be Joe Namath on Sunday night, and it's a Sunday night game, the only game on the docket. This gonna be a real good football game, baby, in Pittsburgh. Back to you, Brian.
Well, Joey, this was a defense that just a week ago we were talking about how good they were, right? Maybe one of the best complete units in the league as far as points allowed, as far as yards, as far as everything else, getting after the quarterback. So far this season, the Green Bay Packers have scored 27 points on 4 separate occasions. They scored 40 points in their tie to the Dallas Cowboys. The only loss of the year, they scored a measly 10 points at the Cleveland Browns. The Steelers' offense woke up a little bit. We saw it last week. Aaron Rodgers played really well. I don't think there was a tight end in the state of Pennsylvania that had a bad week Thursday night. But
yeah, yes, sir.
Joey, is this kind of a get-right game where maybe, obviously the Packers are a pretty good unit, but this is kind of we have a couple extra days to prepare. We kind of got punched in the mouth a little bit on Thursday night. We got something to prove. We got to back up our guy at quarterback against his former team.
I think so. I think the Steelers will come out. I think we're at the point of the season where they know what their strengths and weaknesses are. Okay. They know that for Aaron Rodgers to be the best version of himself, he's got to get rid of the ball quick. He can't sit back in the pocket and hold the ball. They're going to roll him out. They're going to try to get him away from the side that Micah's on, more than likely. They're probably going to do more quick passing. Now, the Steelers are a team we talked about earlier about Buffalo. The Steelers are a team who is in desperate need of a real number 2 receiver. Okay, you have DK Metcalf, and everybody know on big plays we're going to DK Metcalf. Now they have a couple tight ends, especially the big boy from Georgia that they got really involved the last couple of weeks. And he's a big 6'7", 300-pound kid that can really catch the ball and block. He's not going to beat you vertically down the field, but he can do some things. So I think the Steelers know that we can't let Green Bay's defense dictate the pace of the game, because if we do that, then it's gonna be a long night for us. So I think they're gonna get the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hand. Pittsburgh they have got to find a way to run the football. Their running game has not been great most of the season. They ran okay last week, but prior to that, they have not been a great team running the football.
Yeah, I was gonna say Warren's back and healthy a little bit last week, and the staple of an Arthur Smith offense is we're going to get the tight ends involved. We're going to try to run the ball, play action. We're going to try to move the quarterback around, kind of keep it to where the defensive line, especially a guy like Micah Parsons, is guessing, right? If he's in a position where he can just pin his ears back and come after our 40-year-old quarterback, we're going to be in trouble. Mm-hmm. But with all this being said, there's a lot on the line here for both teams, not just, the stakes, whatever it's in prime time, but, bragging rights kind of for Rodgers, because I think this is the last team that he needs to beat, if I'm not mistaken, to kind of complete the cycle. But Joey, I'll start with you on this one. We got to have a winner. I know, same with the Cowboys, like the last game with Vincent. Your heart is in one place, but where's your head on this one?
You know what? My heart is telling me the Steelers are going to pull off an upset, but my head is telling me that the Packers are going to go into Pittsburgh and win the game probably by 3 to 6 points, maybe a touchdown. But the Packers tend to play to the level of competition. And I'm, again, Jordan Love, I'm not sold on him completely yet. I know a lot of analysts had him as one of the picks for potential MVP this year, and I just haven't seen that kind of play out of him. And the Steelers defense after last week, they really need to find a way to step up. So I think their pride will force them to step up some this year, and I think their defensive line, Hayward and the boys, will step up this year. But I do think this will be a closer game than most people think. I don't think Michael will have 3 sacks this game for sure, because he'll get the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands. But if I were a betting man, I would probably take the Packers.
Vincent, I'm gonna go the same question to you. Someone's got to win the game, right? As usual, unless you tie, which the Packers have already done that. It'd be a very very rare occurrence for a team to finish with 2 ties in the same season. But got to have a winner in this one. What do you got?
Huge football game for both teams. I'm going to say this. I'm going to go with the Steelers defense. I think they got to play well. Last week against the Bengals, they gave up 470 yards, 6.5 yards to play. Their secondary was horrendous. And you got to think Jordan Love and the Packers offense is kind of reeling at the mouth to get to the defense. But I'm going to say this, and I'm going to agree with Joey. I'm not really a big fan of Jordan Love. I haven't seen him play really decent football until a couple seasons ago. He had that little nice run. But has he really played championship football that we stopped putting him in the top 10 in the league? So that being said, I think it's going to be a close football game. I think the Steelers are going to clean up the things on defense. And I think Chico, California, Aaron Rodgers, and the Steelers win this football game 24-21. Because I don't think the Steelers are going to play bad defensively like they did last Thursday night against the Bengals. Back to you, Brian.
Well, there's a chance. He's practicing again. He hasn't been fully activated, but Christian Watson might be back for this game. It's either next week or the week after. I think they have to activate him to the active roster, or else they can't use him the rest of the year. That could be big for Jordan Love. Maybe it helps him out. Maybe helps improve those numbers a little bit more. But, gentlemen, those are our 4 games. So, Joey, is there anything else you're looking forward to? Week 8, any other games, any other players, any other shout-outs? Maybe you're looking back?
No, you know what? I'll say this. The game last night, especially the first game last night, the Lions and Tampa Bay game was a great game. And it shows you that no matter who lines up for Detroit, just like I would say the same thing about if I'm talking about the Niners, no matter who lines up, the expectations are the same. Defensively, Detroit didn't change a thing with the paper bag guys they had at corner, and some guys that you would have to look in the lineup way deep in the lineup to find out who they are, what school they went to, and what have you. But guess what? That defensive line came to play. The offense was explosive. Jahmyr Gibbs was a man amongst men. Another running back who, let's see, the last 3 weeks we've had running backs from different teams to go over 200 yards total offense. We had Gibbs, we had Christian McCaffrey do that. We had the kid in Carolina to do that the week before that. So you know what? The running backs are on day. Oh, excuse me. And we had the running back in for the Falcons to do that. So guess what? The running backs aren't dead in the NFL. So that's what we need to get back to understand. The running backs aren't dead. And the reason why Philly can't run the ball is not because of the running back. It's not because Barkley has lost a step. It's because the line is beat up. I mean, that offensive line is not playing good at all. And they, had to get rid of some guys for salary cap reasons. So that's that problem. But, hey, if you can run the ball, you can win the line of scrimmage, you got a chance to win the football game.
Vincent, same question to you. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we wrap up our Week 8 preview show, maybe going back and look at what's happened in the last couple of weeks leading up to this point?
Outstanding show this evening. The LA Rams are surprising me a lot. Matthew Stafford, we all thought he was washed up, but man, he's played great football. And as a gentleman here on our preview show, as we've had for the last couple of weeks, I'm a man that takes the mud when it comes on my face. Look at Joy. Mr. Joy Clinkscales, he want me to say it. And I think you want me to say it too, Brian. The most disappointing thing I came away from Week 8 is the Atlanta Falcons. Their Sunday night performance against the San Francisco 49ers. When I think this team is ready to turn the corner, like Mr. Clinkscales said, when I said, all right.
That's right. You did do that a lot last week. Yeah.
Man.
I thought it was a cat.
They played that kitty cats this weekend, as Mr. LeBel says. I'm going to leave you with this. What is going on in Falcons Nation? And today they cut Ray McLeod. Yeah. And I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm going to give it back to you, Mr. Brian LeBel.
Well, they got certainly some stuff to figure out, but they've kind of been an up and down every other week team, so they should beat up on the Dolphins on Sunday, given the trajectory of things and the trends. But
they better be.
Yeah. Well, hey, Mike McDaniels, if that happens, he might be looking for a new job come Monday or Tuesday morning next week.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's been our Week 8 preview show. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate everybody that's watched maybe all the way through. If you have, hey man, it's fantastic. We really do appreciate it. For Vincent Turner below me, for Joey Clinkscales, I'm Brian LeBel. Thank you guys. This has been our Week 8 NFL preview show. We'll be back at it again next Tuesday night for already Week 9. We're at the halfway point.